Okay.
You guys ready?
Yep.
I'm ready.
All right. So, first and foremost, I want to welcome everyone to another wonderful live stage. We have quite a lot to cover today. A lot of news going this week. But before we do all of that, I want to remind everyone that we have the live chat channel open. Feel free to ask any questions you wish in the live chat or just discuss with our stage team members and members of the community. Also, please do not forget we have our live ID channel. By placing your in game ID in that live ID channel, we can have the fairies send you a little gift for participating in stage. For those of you that can't make it to our live stage, we have the stage rewind where you can check out whatever was discussed in stage, maybe share it with your alliance members and friends in the game. If there's a certain subject that we're covering on stage that is pertinent to what you guys are interested in. Also, we have the stage topics channel that is designed so that off hours when we're not having a live stage, you can post topics that you want us to discuss, and we'll try to cover that in the very next stage. But from there, I am going to hand it off to Bug to start off today's stage. Like I said, we got a bunch to cover, so bear with us. Also, if you want to come up onto stage and ask questions live, raise your hand at the bottom of the screen, and we will bring you up on stage to answer your questions.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Soul. Yeah, so the first thing, and 0088, you put your ID in the live ID channel, not the regular chat channel. So make sure you do that in the right channel.
We'll move it.
Cool. So it looks like we just got word of a new content upgrade, which one of those things is going to be the insect potential type of the insect skins. So it looks like you're going to have two insect potentials that can be activated at the same time. Not sure what those potentials are going to be, but nevertheless, you have two skins, two potentials to unlock. But all the potentials that were activated are going to be deactivated, and you're going to have to manually activate them again
after the update.
Yeah, after the update, which is going to be at 7 UTC from 7 to 7:45 on the 13th. And
you know what that means, though? That's a semi-big update.
What does that mean? What do you think?
Well, because I mean, here's the thing. Usually, like the standard time to upgrade is 30 minutes. So anytime it's more than that, it's a pretty major upgrade. So the 45-minute ones, the 1 hour ones, those typically have like major changes into the game. So always bear that in mind when looking at how long the update's going to take.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. More stuff going on. You need more time to get it going on. So, what are these potentials? Like it says, the potentials that were already activated will be deactivated. So we only are using one potential right now, and now we're going to go from 1 to 2. Am I the only one reading it that way, or?
Kind of thought it was more of like you can have both activated, like the ones you kind of get free to play and the ones that you can purchase. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Yeah. So like,
or if they have other ones, so maybe down the line there's more that's coming. So kind of like the buddy insect, where you could have the purple insect or the orange, or the purple buddy or the orange or buddy. Now you'll have like the purple in potential, and do you know what I mean? Maybe they'll be more increased. Like,
yeah, okay.
Maybe there's amp potentials coming. I don't know.
Oh yeah, amp in a skin. Okay, that could be
I don't know.
cool.
I'm guessing.
Right, right. So then they're optimizing the ascent conditions for cells, for genes, for germs and fungus in the mutation flora. Um, then it goes on to say that basically they're increasing the level cap for germs from whatever it is now to 60. And let's see, the ascend of any four mutation types to a higher level other than 3 must reach the specified level first. Okay. Um, so I don't even know where I'm at with germs, but I don't think I'm at anywhere close to 60. Um, but that's cool for people who are.
Yeah, I'm like, that's not something I'll see anytime soon.
Yeah. So then apparently the stat metallic stag beetle is gonna get some kind of new sparkle. The in-game visual effects are gonna be optimized somehow. Um, Not sure if they're gonna make it clamp its pincers faster or make it shinier or what, but they're gonna be optimized. Um, and then this was interesting. I'm not sure why they were doing this, but they optimized the anthill skin fragment redemption. So, or maybe they're just adding batch redeem for some anthill skin fragments um, into generic fragments. So maybe just more of a one click instead of having to click a bunch of times to redeem them. So that's always nice when you don't have to click as many buttons to get the same effect. And some of the text translations for the season milestones were updated or optimized. Now, so that's pretty much the update. Like Sol was saying, it might be pretty big because it's 45 minutes instead of 30. However, I mean, in my mind, more what piques my interest the most this week of what Ants has put out is this new mysterious Dimension X, the new season coming. So I'm pretty excited about it. And they're calling it Dimension X10 also in the text, which I find interesting because we kind of just now have T10s. Now this is Dimension X10. I'm like, I wonder if there's any significance there. Um, Maybe we're gonna have. So anyway, let me just go to read a little bit. The Ant Kingdom expedition team discovered a never before seen space-time rift in the remote borderland. We got a glimpse into the parallel yet distinct from the Ant World Kingdom, Dimension X10. Um, so they say it resonates curiously with our season gameplay. So it's a new season. Um, it appears to contain multiple unique zones, each with its own unique ecosystem and unique challenges. So this part here really makes me think they're going to do something different than they've ever done because they're calling it unique. And I'm just going out on a limb and guessing or making an assumption, but I'm thinking we're going to have multiple zones. You're going to either have to build differently, or some zones are going to have bots and some zones are not going to have bots, or some zones are going to have bots that are hard and bots that are easy or more difficult than the other zones. Um, Anybody else have any thoughts on that? Unique ecosystem and challenges?
What if it's like a combination of all past seasons? So, like, depending on what zone, there'll be like an island zone, a barren zone, a vast jungle zone, and the parameters of each zone. And maybe there's some unique ones that you
Yeah.
have to kind of build through, or like, so depending on what zone you start in as a team could affect how you collect buffs and what you face. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of options, and there
There
might be
are.
some new stuff. Although I think a lot of people I know are hoping they're space ants because that would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think flying ants or flying stuff is in the works because It's easier to get through space if you can fly.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, and there were wings in the X.
yes, there. Yeah, if you look closely at that image that they posted,
I'll
um,
put it up.
okay, I was gonna say I can put it up in chat. There's some interesting little shadowy figures that we were trying to make out, and it was like two. It was like Nim and I were trying to make out. It was like two people looking at the same cloud, seeing different things, or
Hmm.
I think we kind of landed on similar ideas. But in the bottom left of the X, it's clearly something. I mean, if they're trying to give a hint in these pictures, which I think they do sometimes, right, Nim?
I think so too.
Yeah. So like they sometimes give hints in these photos as to like what's coming. If you look closely, zoom in there at the bottom left of the X, it looks like something with wings. It's got to be. I mean, if it's going to be a bug, a butterfly, a moth. Uh, I'm not sure what to make out of the jellyfish looking thing at the end of the tail, but maybe that's a separate thing. I don't know. But one of the things that it made me think of is if they're going to do a collaboration, maybe that's Mothra uh, from Godzilla series, or if you look at the upper right of corner of that X, my brain immediately goes to seeing a dragon. I don't know what other people see, but there's like a dragon, maybe a little person in there, or just a dragon. And then if it's a Mothra and Ghidorah hint, that's also Ghidorah is also a three-headed dragon that we've seen in the game before. There's ornaments for Ghidorah and Mothra. Um, I'm wondering if they're gonna do a collab in this season. I don't. Maybe they're not. Maybe I'm just like looking at a cloud, seeing a shape, and it's just a cloud. But maybe not. You never know. The the resource distribution and environmental factors in Dimension X are different from the maps we're familiar with, apparently. So I'm just going out on a limb and saying resource nodes are going to be maybe not in a safe zone. They're going to be in zones that you can be hit on, or they're just going to be spread out, maybe like server. They're spread out, not just all in one centrally located place within the zone. So that might make it harder to, like on Gathering Day, build a tower and just shoot your troops to that center zone in 5 seconds or less and keep gathering. Um, so we'll see. I don't know exactly. I'm just guessing, but so they say, yeah, work is ongoing. They're going to come out with um, new hints, which they did. So this was just, I think, the first of the hints. They did it say in this one that there's going to be continuous Evo. So they'll continue to enrich, which will continue to enrich the gameplay of each zone based on the progress of research. Now, I have seen in the Red China version of this game a season Evo tree. So this to me is a big hint at a new Evo
Oh,
tree.
Oh, that's
interesting.
interesting. I wonder what type of material it's going to use because we've already changed the Evo material to the amp system.
Hmm.
So I wonder if it's going to be a new type,
Yeah,
which
could.
will honestly further enhance our ability to like save properly because whenever there's like multiple materials that are used, like currently we can choose like if we have enough amp material, we can push amp Evo, but if not, we still have the creature remains on creature remain type Evo. So if there's a third type that maybe you can only earn during the season, that would be an interesting play on it.
Yeah, yeah, that would make Evo Day just like super easy. Um, to get 9 shells, I mean. Um, I think in the Red China version they used creature remains still, but I didn't look to see or notice any new symbols or something. There might have been a new symbol in there. I don't remember. Um, so does anyone, it says, what unknown challenges do you think the discovery of Dimension X will bring to the Ant Kingdom? I don't know. New challenges? Probably. We're gonna. I mean, if they're going to give a new Evo, and I've seen that Evo in the Red China version, and I, like, had some of it translated, or just looked at the symbols of the Evo tree, and it looks like extra stamina, faster stamina regeneration. So I'm thinking there's going to be in this new season a requirement for using season stam on additional something additional, or it's just gonna be we're able to fight more. Not sure.
I hope
Um,
that it brings free teleports everywhere,
yeah,
even
right.
on your regular
Oh
map.
yeah, that that is something I hope for sure.
Yeah,
Because that would
seriously,
be
man.
super fun.
What if they made teleports not free anywhere in this game? I mean, in the season. I
no.
mean, the new season. What if you have to spend teleports?
Well, no one
That
to go. You couldn't like.
that would just make it really
Although you
hard.
know what, if they were gonna keep teleports, maybe they should have season teleports and like server teleports, so that you could fight differently when you're back on server.
Yeah, save some of the server teleports for bouncing around, or
Hmm.
so you don't have to spend 2,000 diamonds to go whatever farm speed ups at the squirter. Um,
Yeah. I don't
so
know. I'm
it's
personally kind of excited about this like Dimension X possibility. I
yeah.
think it'll be kind of super fun. I mean, they're coming up with some to keep the game kind of relevant and the players that have been here a while um interested.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, you think about, I look at it like a, you know how you see like there's like a 3-level chessboard where you're like playing on one map and maybe there's like milestones that you have to get to in order to get to the next map, and the teams that do it more efficiently can get, so you're almost like maybe you're not even on the same map the whole time because you're like evolving, and maybe when you go the next time Dimension X has changed, so it's like never the same map that you end up on every time you go back. I think stuff like that would be super fun to keep you challenged and interested and like
Kind of like
never getting bored.
I like Ria's taken on that, where it's kind of like it almost looks like a vast jungle where the blue teams are focusing in on the center, which is red camp or something like that, or maybe all four corners race to the center.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it doesn't say anything about how um like will there be camps, will there not be camps, you know what I mean, or will your gameplay determine what your camps end up being, or any of that stuff. Like there's still a lot to kind of unpack it we don't know anything about.
Yeah. It did say it's going to make it more enjoyable. Whatever this upgrade, it's going to be. So they're calling it a comprehensive upgrade to the season system. So it says it's going to
Hmm.
be profoundly impacting all of our existing season systems in one of the bullet points there. So
Hmm.
there's going to be a change that's going to make all season events more enjoyable somehow. I don't know how. Maybe they're going to be free teleports everywhere. I don't know. It could be something different, but that'll be interesting to see the other seasons all sharing this same benefit uh, in this comprehensive upgrade. Um, the Anthill enhancement adjustment uh, says basically they're altering the performance parameters of enhanced buildings, and the amount of materials required for enhancement and the attributes gained from enhancement will be adjusted up or down. I don't know. The average level of enhancement across all buildings in the anthill will now grant additional attributes to enhancement. So the average level of enhancement across all buildings in the anthill will now grant additional attributes to enhancements. So I'm thinking there's gonna be some new. This ties in with some of the later updates, like because then it goes on to say easier to obtain season fruits. So maybe some of the buildings are going to generate fruit. Maybe they're going to give like buffs to other things that they don't already give buffs to. But there seems to be some kind of focus on season fruit because it says the new daily limit on the number of tasks you can complete is going to, I think, increase or has been simplified. Additional season fruit rewards can be increased by, and oh, it says right there, by enhancing certain buildings. So maybe you can more easily acquire the stuff in the season fruit store, and they're adding more items to the season fruit store. So it's not like new items but not enough fruit. They're providing additional ways to get fruits, like enhancements and maybe some other things.
I find it interesting too, because we were having this conversation a little bit before stage, is like I had gotten in my gameplay, I had gotten to a place where I was comfortable, because like in early days of gameplay, you're like scrounging for resources for your next building upgrade, or like the early days when you're like, I'm gonna have to wait weeks before I have what I need to get to the next level. And then I found for my own self is you get to a place where you're kind of comfortable, so you're gaining more resources and things more than you're using.
Right.
And I find now I'm a little less comfortable, even though my hill, like and part of being uncomfortable is that like I like to have a certain amount in my hill available at all times, and I'm getting close to those numbers, so it makes me uncomfortable. By no means is my hill empty of anything, but I enjoy the being uncomfortable because it makes you re-engage in the game and pay more attention, I think, for myself. So I think also this will allow people to gain some of those resources and items they're going to need to continue to upgrade in order to continue to play seasons. Because with the new amp system, the Evo tree, the T12 soldiers, like I can see there is a more significant resource drain having to do all of those things. So gaining more is key, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So maybe this will help us to keep pace with all of those things, which would be nice, because there's a lot of things like all of the resources to upgrade the amp Evo, plus all of the resources to upgrade the amp buildings or to amp up the buildings. That's a lot of resources. Then you go to season and it drains you even more. So it's like here's them throwing us a bone to kind of maybe level things out a little bit faster reward acquisition.
Well, and when you're in a competitive season, like, I mean, you're healing more often. You maybe not getting the same level of kills, which is also something else we were talking about. So you're healing more often. So you're at like the 30% you're getting back, or the 30% you used, and the amount you're getting back is not the same. So you're starting to see more of a deficit there too.
Yep.
My thing is the teleports. I lose a lot more teleports than anything else. I'm in the seasons. That is something I haven't been able to get a control on, even though I do like constantly hit the colony action triple shell to get the reward. I grab only teleports out of that credit store, but season after season, it's like I get to the bottom of the barrel when it comes to teleports.
Yeah, same.
I wish I
could spend in diamonds
there are
like a week
tricks,
ago.
There are tricks that like you can implement during the season. I mean, like and I've tried to do that like as often as I can, like from your home zone, even if you have to march a little bit further to build towers that are not under duress, for example, like launch them from your home zone, even if it takes a 10-minute march to get to the tower or whatever. Just it's one less teleport, right? Like, or sometimes two less teleports, or don't constantly like move, just wherever you're at. but still, it's definitely not that easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
So
if we look at the picture of that hint, let me see if I have it. One of the hints with the seasoned fruit. Not that one. This guy. It looks like seasoned fruits or some materials that we're going to get from seasoned fruits are going to be able to be converted into some kind of coin. I don't know if it's an ant coin or uh, a seasoned coin, but I just was trying to look at this. So the fruit, it's like illustrating the amount of fruit, seasoned fruit we're going to get is going up. The amount of stuff we're going to get is going up. And then the rewards are also going to be gold something. But then that doesn't, then that's kind of, it stops with any more hints there.
well, they also kind of hinted at the fact that there's going to be like increased way to earn that seasoned fruit and stuff like that. So I think there's going to be a lot more changes to that season store. I don't know
Definitely.
what
Mhm.
other items they're going to put into it, but from what they've released, it seems that not only is it going to be easier, or maybe you're gaining more fruit from certain things, which we already are. I mean, like on the higher level insects and stuff, but I'm kind of curious to see. Do you guys wind up buying out that season store, or get close to it typically, or
No,
not really?
not everything. I don't.
I mean, I
Like,
just
I mean,
buy the like the bio, the exotic shell, the orange
Mhm.
insect egg, the kiwi, and then I kind of wait till the end of the season to make sure I have enough to buy the last week refresh. And then if I have anything left, I'll get some creature remains at the very end of the season.
I gotcha.
Well, the Matnub said Guess is removing RS resources and adding amp crystals. I don't think they're going to remove too much, but I think they're going to add amp crystals for sure. But
So,
that's just me. I think amp crystals make sense for as another place to get it.
Oh, that would be nice.
oh, it does look like there's crystals on top of the purple crystals on top of two of those stands in that picture.
Hmm.
Looks like crystals on top. And
So,
then one of them, the middle at the bottom, looks like there might be some diamonds in the top shelf of that. And then the big shelf on the left looks like it has, to me, I just see like mutation flora, like germs, um, fungus, and then maybe genes and cells on the last four rows of that top or big shelf on the left. Um, so I'm thinking this season store is going to have like just about everything in it.
that would be
And
that would.
if you look at the arrows too, it to me that could be that there'll be options. So like so you can click on an item and you can pick like one of 10 items rather than you know what I mean? Because like the arrows pointing because they are always leaving little I call them Easter egg hints. It's like what do those arrows mean? So this is time limited, but it could change. There's other shelves. Like why would you need more than one shelf? So there's
Right.
something like layers to it, I think.
Oreo, the exotic shell is actually the first item I get. That is the one thing. Actually, technically, enhancement resin is the first thing I get because like
Mhm.
you can use it on that day, and it's fairly inexpensive compared to the other items because it helps you get your honor up or whatever. But then, of all the materials that are offered in the store currently, I typically get the exotic shell first because that, you know, it depends on what stage in the game you are, right? Like bio would be super important if you don't have the four mutations up to the point where you max out the combat speed. So I would say bio would be way more important than the exotic shell in that case. But once you're in a server that you're more developed and you have, what is it, level 2 on each of the mutations to
Yeah.
max out the combat speed, then at that point, I personally think exotic shell is more important, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no, I grabbed the exotic shell for sure. Like that's a very scarce resource. So I mean, so are bio, but uh, the exotic
The
shells
thing
are
is,
very.
once you've hit level 2 on the mutations, though, bio is not as important, I would say. I mean, it does give a nice little stat boost here and there, but it's not like game changing. Whereas having
Right.
enough exotic shells to get an ant up to 6 stars, 7 stars, 8 stars, that's huge improvement for your troop.
I
Yeah,
think it would be nice to find in the season store the items that are more challenging to get your hands on, even if they're not fully season related. Like we were talking about bioessence, but even some of the stuff that like from like exotic not exotic shells, like insect materials, like some of the materials that are harder. So like you're encouraged to go to season and get those fruits in order for you to like upgrade insects, or you know what I mean? Because
oh yeah, yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I personally hope, like, I know that it's a much more quote unquote friendly game in the sense that like the winning rewards versus explorer rewards on these seasons are pretty much negligible change.
Hmm.
Um, I would like to see a greater um, differentiation between those two rewards, like something well worthwhile, because like I think it would improve the overall competitiveness of the events as opposed to like, you know, you go to a like when I look at the game in general, like my initial thought process is if you want to be the I like the game how it's set up in the sense that like any type of player can really like play this game to their speed, right? Your
Hmm.
casual players can play it, your uber competitive players can play it like in different ways, right? Like if you literally could sit on a server forever, right? You could have 5, 6, 10, 20 buddies, 30 buddies, form an alliance, sit on a server and, hunt away and do whatever, SVS tasks and whatnot and really enjoy the game. Or you could go to a season. But the thing is, like, because of how the game is set up and where you get such better rewards to go to the season, I think in a way it brings people that are maybe not as competitive eh, to register so that they can get those better
Hmm.
rewards, even if they're not going to try, right? Like, because it's still better to go to a season, lose the season, get all the rewards that come from Explorer and not expend any resources or anything in like the competitive nature of the event.
Hmm.
So if there's more of a differentiation, um, I think people will enjoy seasons more, right? Like they'll form more competitive teams. They'll try harder on the seasons to win, and so by nature, it will make the game a little bit more interesting that way.
Speaking of rewards, they did say I didn't get to it yet. They're going to increase the number of this season settlement eggs that you receive, and the
Hmm.
hatching probabilities of those is going to be increased. But it doesn't say for the winning side you're going to get more. For the losing side you're going to. It just says blanketly, you know, for everyone. Looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I mean, it's definitely, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I've played in 20 seasons, and I have not. I would say my win loss ratio in those seasons is probably 50-50.
Hmm.
So I'd have to go back and look to be sure. Some of the seasons we actually quit. I think 2 seasons we quit early because like a new season was coming out and we were in between that time period where like, so we went to a season knowing we were going to quit to go into the new season that was coming out. Right. So I don't think I got eggs from those particular seasons, but I can tell you from the 20 seasons total that I've been to, only one season have I hatched more than the one guaranteed season ant, which
Yeah.
is kind of an abysmal, um, abysmal rate of return if you think about it, right? In
Right.
20 seasons, only getting the one guaranteed ant, and I'm sure my experience is not unusual. I bet if everyone looked back at their seasons and the hatches after the season, there's probably only a handful of players that got more than one season, you know, the guaranteed in the first five or whatever that they
I
that
think
they
I,
give you.
I think I've only gotten 2 ants one time, like one season
Mm-mm.
out of all the seasons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and even the one that I did get two ants, it was like I got the one guaranteed that was for that season. So let's say it was season 3. So I got like one season 3 ant, and then I got like a season 2 ant or something like that, right? It
Oh
wasn't.
no.
I've never gotten it where it's like 2 of the season I'm on
Right.
ants. So, but
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I just have terrible luck and everyone's going to come in and say, "Oh no, I have 20, 15 seasons I played. I've always gotten to." I'm gonna,
No, we were joking about hatches before we came on the show because I was like, "Oh, great, we're getting a brand new season, so potentially that means S5 ants." And of course, I just hatched my SSA, and I joked about that I'm going to hatch it when I don't need it because there's probably going to be some fabulous new shooter ant that comes out, and it's a complete waste of my time waiting all of this time. And I won't hatch that one until the next season comes out.
Right.
That's the luck I have.
Oh man. Yeah. I I've it's been an enigma, a mystery to me on how to hatch the ants you want to hatch. I've tried to come up with some methodology, and I think it worked at one point, but now I think it's just totally randomly generated now, and it seems like the one you want is the last one you get.
Uh-huh. It's exactly what happened to me. And I've hatched a lot of ants. I think I have like 164 shells.
So yeah, okay, yeah. I wonder if it's like, you can immediately get 2 copies of the one that you want now if you go to 800 eggs. So that's
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
not happening.
interesting to ponder on. Uh, I've done it before a few times. Um, Even when they didn't give you the guaranteed one, and it was just like a regular extra cool hatch or whatever at 800. Um, but it's so tempting to like now, all right, I want to go to 800 so I can get a 4-star of like the newest, you know, awesome meta ant.
well, I was actually I had a friend of mine reach out to me, and I was kind of the whole struggle with exotic shells, right? And where to and put those, and she was showing me her lineups and whatnot, and I was giving her the advice that like, hey, you're spreading out your exotic shells way too far, because like the reality is you only want to invest those into ants that at a minimum help you with that troop boost, getting you further into that troop boost
Yeah.
situation. But you also, if you do have an abundance of exotic shells, you want to make sure you're maintaining like either a 4-star or 5, 6, 7. You don't want to like go into an 8-star ant because it's so hard to get so many dupes, right? So like I actually have ants that are set up as almost placeholders for exotic shells because
Hmm.
they help me get further into that troop boost area. But should I get a copy of a new ant that I want to, get up to 4 stars as soon as the copy, then you can just swap stars and you're not wasting all this kiwi material and a percentage of spores by having to D-star a high level ant. And I know even with the ability to D-star to a certain level, that helps, but it's still not ideal because if you have invested a bunch of kiwi into making an ant 8 stars, there's a huge amount of kiwi that goes in between 7 and 8 stars, and you lose all of that. So you want to maintain, a certain number of ants with lower exotics, so that way you can, immediately star up one of the new S5 ants that come out or something along those lines, right?
Right, right. You got your
You
4 star
get what
ready
I'm
to
saying?
go. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, even if you had enough exotics, let's say, to make an ant 8 star, but you're a little bit concerned that, like, is this ant going to be relevant later? Well, it's hard to transfer an 8 star ant into a newer ant because it's going to take time to get those dupes. You know what I'm saying? Or even a 7 star ant, because you have to get 2 dupes. So when these new S5 ants come out, the first thing is going to be getting it up to level 50, maxing out the skills. But then from there, if you have an ant ready with the extra exotics, it's better to invest them in an ant than it is to have them sitting in your inventory, because every ant helps that troop boost, right?
Right.
So you're better off having those invested into an ant, but you don't want to invest them in a way where you're blowing resources that are like really rare, like kiwi and spores, when unless you're able to transfer them. So I always recommend holding back an ant. Maybe even if you could make it 5 stars, right? You keep it at 4 stars, just so if you happen to get an ant and a dupe of it in a new season, that's like a really OP ant, boom, you can immediately make it 4 stars as soon as you get that first dupe.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Good. Locked and loaded, ready for it. I think the next update, I mean, they've got to, or the next hint about season is going to be something along the lines of or some of the new season ants, because like new season info. They're going to be like, oh, we've discovered some mysterious new ant. Is it a guardian? Is it a shooter? Is it a carrier? um, just my opinion. I hope so, or my wishful thinking, anyways. Be
Do
cool
you
if
guys find it like annoying that you can't keep the season skins? Like, I just don't see the point for them. I think in the beginning, early days, you're like, we won the season, here's the skin. But now I'm like, meh, if that makes sense. Like, there
they.
should be like a buff or something you get to keep, or like when you win your first season, like something, maybe like season badge medals or something, because the skin is kind of like really not that useful if you're not getting to keep it and activate buffs with it. Just kind of like other things like frames, maybe.
ooh, that's a
You know,
good suggestion right there. Maybe like season medals.
something.
Win X amount of seasons and get this medal.
Yeah, because it's like for me, the skin is like you get it for only a certain period of time. Like I don't really like any of in my opinion, I don't like any of the things that come at you with like a time limit. Like you get to wear this for a time limit. It's like, well, what's the point? Like
Yeah, I
in
can't
my
take it. Like one
yeah, I
person
can't.
gets to take it to next season, like for 5 days or something.
But I think like getting a season medal where you've like a medal you've been to every season, and then each time you've won a season or after you win so many seasons, you can like it gets shiny or just like it does with the other medals. But I think that would be more exciting for a season. I think if you play the season, you should just get to keep the skin so you can wear it any time. But like have medals, I don't know. Anyway, that's just me because I just find the things that you don't get to keep, I don't even bother. Like I think I have a 30-day, a couple frames where I'm supposed to activate them and get them for 30 days, and they've just been sitting in my inventory because I'm like, well, I'd rather look at them in my inventory than have them disappear after I've used them because I'm not
Yeah.
going to use them.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of
So
items in your inventory, we were talking about this as well. The season revival fungi. If you buy the $5 or the $20 or whatever packs, you get the ant coins refunded if you don't use them, and you get to keep the resources and the ant and the diamonds that came along with those packs. So kind of a little workaround to getting free stuff, but not really like you're still spending some money, but you're getting free stuff. If you bought a pack of fungi, you're gonna get the ant coins returned like 100%, plus keep all the resources, plus all the diamonds. The exception I think was with the $100 pack, maybe. Then it gives you like about 90 of the $100 that you spend on that pack back in ant coins. The other packs below that, I believe, at least the 5 and the 20, looks like they give you maybe even the 50. I don't know, I don't recall, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the 5 and the 20. So a little cheat around. If you don't use all your fungi, you get to keep all those diamonds and still get the ant coins and the resources and the alliance whatever little reward. Just learned that today myself, because I've always used up all my fungi because I like fighting, so I never thought, oh, maybe save some if the season's kind of tapping out. I don't have to burn through it. I can leave some of it and get a refund. Um, not
I
all
just hold on to it
not
for next season,
oh
like the
not all
coin, and
coins.
then
Yeah, Lassa was saying not all coins. Yeah, I mean it looked like from what we were looking at earlier, not all the
Coins are
coins
returned.
on the bigger
All,
pack.
all, all the coins are returned.
Yeah.
The only one that's not returned in full is if you buy the $99 pack. There's you would lose technically $10 or US dollars if you did. But other than that, all coins are returned. So it's because it's returned in a per fungi basis or whatever. So like for every 12-hour fungi, I think you get 17.99. And then when you buy the $99 pack, it only gives you 7 12-hour fungis. So like if you buy that top pack, um, you will um, you will technically lose like $10 or whatever. But outside of that, if you bought any other pack, it's an equal return of ant coin to the amount of fungi that is unused at the end of the event. So you're technically, basically, like if you want it to be 100% where it's not a loss or whatever, then just buy every pack except that top $99 pack. And then it would give you equal dollar amount.
It might be the $50 pack though too, right? Because that was a 12-hour. The 12
Yeah, but
hours
the
come in
$50 pack is 12. I have to go back and look at it, but it's 12 hours, but it gives you
some eights in
hold on.
there.
What is it? It does. It gives you some eights to make up the difference.
it's a nice
What
little feature I appreciate because I can remember a few seasons where you're prepping
I
for
think it,
fight. It looks like it's going to be a fight, and then you don't end up using them, and then you didn't get them back.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
So this is new-ish, sort of. Maybe
Well,
not.
well,
Not
since
not.
since since they've since they've given refunds on the
hmm it
since they've
didn't start
given
out that way.
yeah, you used to just use it or lose it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest with you, I think too many whales complained about that like, hey, we're buying all the fungi, and then all of a sudden we're out hundreds of dollars because we didn't fight enough or didn't use it or whatever may be the case. So that was what initiated them to give a refund back in ant coin. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots. So they give you 4.99 back for the fungi for the 4-hour pack. Yeah, times two. So you're saying they give one less ant coin on the $5 pack, 998 instead of 999. Okay,
Oh,
well,
wow.
so
Worth it.
yeah, one ant coin is like less than a cent or something. I don't know. Or is it 1 cent for one ant coin? I don't know the math. I'm bad. But
I'm
that's
sure there's probably a sheet somewhere someone's made.
yeah, or could make. Um,
Hint.
yeah. Um, what else? So season five ants are going to be coming out. I mean, are you guys thinking that this is going to happen the next round? Like the next season that comes up is going to be this uh, X10?
I don't
Uh,
know.
that's a good question. I think there's a lot of things, like, because we've had discussions like that we'd like to see. Like, sure, I would love this to be the next season coming out, like releasing the beta version, because that's kind of how they always do it. But I'd also like to see some CSC changes coming out. So there's a lot, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That'd be cool if they merged some ranges together, or some groups together. Especially like 1, 2, 3, 4 would be pretty nice.
Mm, that's my hope. That's what I'm putting out in the universe.
I,
Please,
w- I wish Jake
the
was
powers
on.
that be are listening.
Yeah,
Didn't they add another time slot to AE?
they did
They
recently.
did
Yeah,
like
like
13,
16.
16.
I think 16. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
You're
Um,
saying another one?
No, CSC slot, like to merge servers so they can
But
ranges. That's what we're talking about.
like group 1, 2, 3,
no,
4.
in the chat,
Oh,
he posted that he'd like to see another time slot for AE. Went on server for protection. Went on events. Oh, a different time slot for protection. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that's going to change. That's
That would
that's a
change.
tall order.
That would change a lot too, with everybody figuring out which which 8 hour block are you living in.
Yeah.
Or 16 for some people.
hmm.
So yeah, I mean, my guess is this is going to be the next season that's going to come out. I don't think they would tease us that bad and make us go through a whole nother season of whatever we wanted to before giving us this. I think we're going to see it within the next couple months or less.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be cool. Going to go to space. Um,
I hope it's space.
it's got to be. Let me look.
I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, be weird to put a picture of Mingo sitting on like a planet and then it not be in space. But who knows? Looks like he's sitting on Mars.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
I don't
There's a
know.
lot.
there's a couple minutes left. The one thing there was one other thing that happened this week. The Treasure of Bees event, which still had for the second time, I believe, the Bright Ponerine Awakening,
Hmm.
which tells me uh, if history repeats itself, the third time that awakening is available for the second to last newest ant, they're going to make available the newest pay to win ant, Rainbow Chaser. So the next Treasure Bees event, if that's 2 weeks, if it's a month, looks like that's going to be getting awakened in that time frame. Um,
Ooh.
and I can't imagine, man, awakening the Rainbow Chaser. It's already such a beast. Like
I agree with Matt. I kind of expected to see it awaken
Hmm.
last.
I always wish it was earlier when I have the ant. but This
Yeah.
time, this last couple times, I, was like, I don't know if I'll awaken it or not. I bought it, but I don't know if I'll awaken it. Um, just to kind of like test it out and play with it. And so I wasn't like at the edge of my seat waiting for the awakening. So I was able to kind of objectively go, okay, pretty sure this is what happened with the honeypot ant. There was like 2 times where the Treasure of Bees event happened, and then it was like the third time that they had, since the ant was released, the Treasure of Bees event, they had the awakening available for that ant. So I think this is in alignment with how they've been going. The next Treasure of Bees event will have the Rainbow Chaser awakening, but not yet, unfortunately. If
But what do
I,
you think about insects coming out too? Because they had the
oh yeah, the
amp
next shooter,
atlas.
yeah, the next insect's definitely going to be a shooter, and it's I can't imagine being stronger than the Ghost man, but it's gonna be at least by 10% if history repeats itself, and it's gonna have amp damage, just like the metallic stag beetle. So it's gonna be fire.
I haven't
Yeah,
heard much about the stag, the latest stag beetle insect though, like how it's been performing and stuff. Because I don't have it, but have you guys heard much about that?
I've been having some good luck with it, with using it with guards and like PvP,
Mm.
but it's not anything to run home about for PvE.
Mm.
you know. But for PvP, man, I'm enjoying it. I'm beating like people in the mines or the whatever with T9s. I still have T9s. I'm beating like shooter T10s. I'm beating carrier T10s. It doesn't matter, because that insect and everything. Like, I have good ants as well. Good season ants, like almost fully start up, like Bison, MC, White Crystal. Um,
Bison, huh? Bison, huh?
7 starred.
That's
Yeah.
that's another ant that evades me.
Yeah. I
I
had
had
to buy 800 ants twice to get it to 7
Mm-mm.
stars.
No thanks.
Yeah.
I'm an
Well, we're
insect
gonna
girly.
uh Snoop and Wolf here definitely is onto something with the open up the CSC range.
Hmm.
Hopefully, we see that with this new season. We'll have to wait till we get back. Those typically don't get announced until like right before. There's usually no hints ahead of time on that. So I guess buckle up and see.
But if I was going to put a wish out there, I think group 1 to 4 as a merger would be brilliant. Like that, I think that is ideal in my opinion.
Uh,
And I think
coming
it's
to
manageable.
Nim, you coming to my team if that happens?
Maybe. Tempting. I like the way you play.
That would be fun if we
Yeah,
were all on a team for a season.
Oh,
that would be
seriously.
fun.
That'd be trouble. But
Yeah, see? They should do it. We'll
We'll
see.
see. I hope they
Um,
do.
anybody? Yeah, I think they yeah. I don't know so much about the ranges past group 4 because I'm part of group 4, but whether or not they need to do a big merge there. But we definitely know they've put a lot in the works when it comes to making that a viable option with some of the rewards and stuff they've been giving. So we
right.
know it's somewhere in the future. We just don't know what it looks like.
hmm Do we want to
So,
stick around a little bit longer, or what are you guys thinking?
Well, let's cover. I mean, we pretty much covered everything that's coming out
mhm.
in the new releases. So, do you
Let's
guys have any questions?
Snoop and Wolf's
In the
got his
audience?
hand up.
Yeah, we got a hand up. So
Bring them up.
I think he just has to click a button. Oh, there we go.
Sorry, I'm so late. I was sitting there listening and I couldn't get on because I was like doing my nebulizer trying to breathe.
That's okay.
You know,
Well,
it's
well-
the nature of an asthmatic. You know,
So, did you want to say something about the what was it, the CSC
I
ring?
no, I mean, you know, I just that you know this I think it's getting to a really bad point for people. I mean, there needs to be a much bigger push from people to say stuff to the devs, you know, to open it up further, because I just see a much bigger problem than I think people are just going, oh well, too much, and people are quitting
Yeah.
the game.
I don't know
This
about all
range
that.
is dying. Well, you know, I don't want to argue. I'm too tired to argue a point. I just wanted to say, you know, this is a big problem. You know, we've been facing an attrition rate for a very long time just because of how old our servers are. So whatever reason people are quitting, I'm just trying to say it's a much bigger problem, I think, than
I think they need to
some
open
in
the
the-
ranges. Like they need to
Yeah.
group 1 to 4 should merge.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's a bigger problem, and we've been talking about it a long time,
Right.
and nothing's happened with it. And Sol was right about one issue a while back, with the where they were upgrading people in the other levels, but you know he said that would have been better if they had have done that and then announced that they were going to open the range. I think that's some of what he was saying, but they didn't do that, and it's just this continues to be this way. It's the dead
Wow.
horse I have to beat on a regular basis.
That was before we saw what they actually implemented. So now we actually have seen what they did. So when it comes to that particular thing, it looked like groups 3 and beyond were just getting this additional boost, and it was going to be forever. But then they cut it off for 3.
Right.
I don't think they've announced the cutoff for 4 yet, but at some point, once they're actually doing it very strategically. Now that we can see the bigger picture, because they boosted up 3, and then once a certain percentage of
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that completely. You know, I think, man, it sounds like you're just taking a pull. Wow.
I'm taking
I'm
what?
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so tired right now and trying to breathe, and I can't get my point across very well. I'm really sorry. I'm having a hard time, and I wanted to say something, and that's
Well,
the
I
main
think
thing.
we're.
is that
I
we
think
need to
though we're
open it up.
agreeing. I think we're agreeing with you though in some ways, Snoopy. Like we do agree that it is time for some of those older servers and ranges to combine. I know that it's been talked about for a long time, but in my opinion, we have seen some strategic moves from the developers towards making that happen in a way that isn't going to overwhelm servers that weren't as developed. Like they're making an effort to make sure the servers
And then
are.
we
So
play
I think they are. It's taking time, but I think that it is something that is coming.
We play all these teams all the time. We play all the different levels. We're already evened out. We're already evened out. We're there. It needs to happen. It needs to be pushed forward.
Yeah, we were just saying they usually.
You know, none of these other things. You know, some of this stuff is just sidestepping over into other issues that I just brought up because it was where we were past talking about it. But
no, I feel you. That point take.
I'm really sorry. I just, you know, I'm just trying to beat this dead horse because it needs to be changed. And at the same time, I'm just not having my best breathing day, and I'm trying to do this all at the same time while I'm trying to breathe here. Okay.
Cool.
Gotcha.
We appreciate
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, we're not arguing with you.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
point is that when I made the statement that I hope that they were going to announce a server merge in conjunction with the fact that they were giving this additional boost, and Rhea she must be in Group 4. After this weekend, they're cutting them off as well from that additional boost. So the way, if you look at it objectively now, when they first announced it, they announced it that they were introducing this boost system to servers 3 and beyond for them to be able to catch up to the more developed servers. And so it looked like they were going to reintroduce this week after week after week. And there was no announcement that they were cutting it off or anything like that. But what they actually implemented is once Group 3, a certain percentage of players got to a certain point of the boost, got so many creature remains, got so much other stuff that they could use towards improving their accounts, they cut off that system. And now they're doing the same thing with Group 4. And of course, it's going to take longer for Group 4 for that to happen. So it makes sense that they went an extra 2-3 weeks of that boost system. And I guarantee you, when Group 5 gets to a certain point, they're going to cut it off again. And Group 6, they're going to cut it off again. So they are actively prepping these players to be at a level that they can honestly be able to CSC into a Group 1 or Group 2 or Group 3 or whatever range that they increase it in, and not be so far behind, or maybe not be accepted into a team because they're not developed enough or whatever. So I think
I think we're
all
already
of the
there, but
all
I
of
get
the
what you're saying.
Yeah.
What was
I
that?
think everything that they've done is leading towards eventually opening up the groups. Now that I've seen how they're doing it. But when they first announced it, and that like Groups 1 and 2 weren't involved in that, it looked rather odd that they did it without announcing a CSC expansion. But now that I see how they're actually implementing it, it looks to me that they're definitely going to expand the CSC range. And not only that, I think it's going to be a big expansion. It's not going to be, like maybe one server range or whatever. I think it's going to be more like what Nim said, that they may open up Groups 1 through 4 to be one range, and then maybe 5 through whatever be the new Group 2. So that's what I would. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we never know what they're going to do.
And for me, like, I will be disappointed if we don't personally, I will be disappointed if we don't hear a CSC expansion before the next season, and a good one, like Group 1 to 4, and then whatever the lower ranges have. I think that would be, and I'm not even I'm in Group 4, so I've got a decent range, but I've got a lot of friends who play in those early servers, and I will be super disappointed for them that they don't get, because it's been a long time coming. I mean, I think we're all on the same page here that it is those newer, like the Group 1 to 3 server ranges. It has been a long time coming for those ranges to get access to the Group 4 ranges. And I think that it should happen, and I will be super disappointed if it doesn't, but I don't get to control that. So, but I do think that what we have seen coming from the game so far is indicative of that being in the works. So I would just like to see it sooner than later, for sure. And I think that's basically what you've been kind of saying, Snoopy, that it's been a long time coming, and it should be happening because it's something we've talked about for a while now. But we are now seeing preparation and foundations for that to be a reality.
So, with what you were saying about the timeline of these rewards ending on each level, when do they end? And then if they end, would that be an estimate for a time that you would expect to see us have the merger happen?
I mean, I have no idea, to be honest with you. I mean, I can take guesses here and give my opinion on it, but it's not like I have any crystal ball that's going to tell me when the devs do what they do. But
guess
I'm
from what you're saying. Just give me a guess what you're saying of when you think it should happen.
I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet with the new season being released that they're going to expand the CSC range. I'll tell you that right now. I'm almost. I would give it probably a 70 to 80% chance that when we get back to the server and we open up CSC, it's going to be a bigger range. That's my honest opinion. At least for my group, I'm in group 2. So I think, the way I'm looking at it, at a very bare minimum, I think group 1 and 2 are going to merge at a very bare minimum for this new season that's coming into play. But if I were a betting man, I would say it would be at least groups 1 through 3 with the potential of 4. And then I don't play in the older server ranges, so I can't base it very well for those because I'm not in that range. I don't know how active the servers are, how many teams there are, but based on the fact that I'm in seasons, I've been playing this for a very long time, and I'm in seasons playing against teams that are in the 840 range. I've even played against teams in the 1,000 servers. So, Ria made a very good point in the chat that I have strongly agreed with for many years, is that if we're able to match against teams that are in A, B, C, D server range, doesn't matter, we should be able to migrate between those servers. That's always been my opinion, because I've been on both sides. I've been on both sides. I'm in group 2 now, but my original group was group 4. Okay. And I was on a strong-ish team. Lost Island 1, the first Lost Island that was open to group 4, which was technically the second Lost Island. There was a Lost Island that was only available to group 1, and then the very next season was open to groups 1 through whatever. But the very first one that I was eligible for, I only matched with teams that were within my range. I was in server 522 at the time. I wound up matching against Cole in 501 and UNS in 519 and a couple other teams that are no longer around or whatever. But the point was that very first Lost Island, it was only teams that were within our server range. So it was fairly equal, I would say, because everyone had the same amount of time to develop. Yeah, there were stronger teams, stronger players, whatever that's going to happen. But after that, our team always matched against group 1 teams. Okay. So it was traumatizing for us because we would go to an event and we would be facing these very developed teams. Okay. And we were the oddball because, yeah, we were a strong team, but we didn't know everybody involved. Those guys had been playing with each other for a year ahead of us. So they kind of knew each other.
What server did you start on? Because I thought you started on the same range I did. I started on 456.
522 is where I started.
Okay.
But the point is, we would go to a server. There'd be 5 teams that we would go to an event. There'd be 5 teams we were fighting against. We were the only one in our group, and we're going up against the biggest teams in the game at the time. And, most of the time it was Lost Island. So it was pretty much every team for themselves. And yeah, sometimes we'd make allies and, have a good event. Sometimes we wouldn't, whatever. But the point is that we would go to the very next season, and all of a sudden, of the 5 teams we faced in the previous season, the players had jumped around and created a even stronger team because they were able to CSC within each other. In the meantime, we're in a season where nobody is eligible to come to our team. So our team started losing players, or maybe we would gain players. from within our range, but then they would be like, well, you guys are always matching in these hard events against, group one teams. So we kind of don't want to go there. We'd rather have a more relaxed event or whatever. So I've been in that position where it sucks. Like we're matching against these teams, but we don't have the ability to recruit from those teams, where those teams were always able to recruit from each other. And so they would develop stronger and stronger teams. And every season we would go to would be harder and harder because they would have the best place to recruit is from a season. There's no better area to recruit because you get to see how your opponents are acting. You get to see how your opponents are playing and like which players are you constantly getting battle reports from and showing up to every fight. And hey, that's a player you might want on your team. So by not being able to merge within the groups like that, you don't have the ability to recruit those players or invite them to your team or maybe go to their team if you're not happy with your alliance. So I've always been a proponent that if you can match in an event with a team, you should be able to go back and forth between servers with them. That's just kind of like my thought from the very beginning of this game.
Cool. So, I mean, I think so too. I fully agree, and I think, I don't know, we might be coming to a good stopping point for today.
Yep.
So thank you everyone for joining and sharing, and remember to put your IDs in the ID channel, and we'll hook you up with, for Fairy, we'll hook you up with some rewards.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy the rest of your day. We
And
appreciate you.
season.
Bye, everyone.